Shawn from the Guaranteed Success Plan here, and today we're going to talk about how to get to the mountaintop, how to become a listing agent. And you guys are going to be surprised because it actually does not cost money. I'm going to break down how I became one of the top listing agents in my brokerage inside my first year in the business. I was consistently carrying between 25, 35, and up to 40 listings at a time as a solo agent in a very difficult market, and we were rolling through about 10 or so a month. One thing that you really need to understand is that every single thing has a price, and I'm not just talking about money. Some things cost money and some things cost time. So what I mean by this is listings actually cost you time to get, but money to sell. Buyers, on the other hand, actually cost you money to get and time to sell. So if you're spending all your time chasing around buyers and sellers and spending your money on ads, you're likely going to continue that cycle. If you start switching that around and spending your time to generate leads, you will start generating more listings. You can stop wasting your time with a bunch of buyers. You can even hire buyer agents and then just keep working on listings and keep growing your business. The reason why listings are the mountaintop is because you stop trading your time for money and you stop doing one-to-one transactions. With a buyer, all you're doing is spending all of your time chasing them around town, doing a bunch of CMAs and offers, and it's a one-to-one. You got one buyer, one transaction, that's it. Maybe you get a referral out of it, but probably not. With listings, you can actually fish for new buyers, and that's how you can hire buyer agents. So if you start carrying 10, 15, 25 listings, you're gonna start generating a ton of buyer leads. You can either work those yourself and spend your time, or hire a buyer's agent, let them do all that kind of stuff and keep doing the activities that are gonna generate listings. All right, let's cut the fluff and get straight to it. Here's how we're gonna start generating listings, and it's spending time where homeowners are. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but again, it's talking about being employed, spending your time prospecting. I'm talking about door knocking, working your sphere, warm calling properly, and hammering out social media in a way that's going to attract more sellers than buyers. Here's my door knocking strategy that has worked incredible for me. My best day out was actually 4 listings in one night. It's also what I make my team implement, and we've actually had one of our agents own an entire street. 3 listings all in a row on the same street, and he's got about another 3 coming. So imagine owning an entire street from door knocking. This is a bit of a process, guys, so you gotta bear with me for a minute. We got 2 steps to do. One is an intro into the community, and the second one is actually going and hammering out these listings. And again, if you're not actively working with buyers and sellers, you need to be actively working to get buyers and sellers. So if you're not spending your time actually working a client, you need to be working your time to get a client. So here's what we do. First time that we go out door knocking, we're actually just introducing ourselves to the community and we're inviting people into the open house. One of the things I always talk about, what's the intent and how do we max out the ROI? The intent of this one is to get in front of as many people as possible, have a genuine conversation, and then the second time when you knock on their door, it's gonna be a much easier convo because they're gonna be way more open for you. The door knocking strategy is actually all based around the open house. So we're gonna be inviting people in for the open house. So that is the intent of the door knocking. When you go out, we're gonna knock on the door. When somebody answers, I always like to start with a little joke. My name's Shawn. I'm not here to sell any knives or water machines. I'm actually a realtor with a listing down the road, and we're inviting all the neighbors to come in and check out the open house. They're gonna look at you either 2 ways. 1, like you're crazy, or 2, like you're really crazy. They obviously live in the neighborhood. They're not gonna be moving 1 or 2 blocks down the road, so they're wondering what you're doing at their doorstep, inviting them into an open house. This is when you pass them the flyer and you let them know that this is their chance to pick their neighbors. So if they have any friends, family, or coworkers that they want to live close by, you'd love to see them in for the open house. Let them know that you got a beautiful house and it's priced really, really well. It's gonna go fast. So if they do have any friends, family, or coworkers that want to live close by, this is the one to bring them to. If the conversation feels really warm and you're able to kind of carry it on a little bit, we can start qualifying for current pain and current dissatisfaction. And we can start digging to see if maybe they're not so happy in the neighborhood anymore. Find out if the commute is a little bit too long. Maybe the school isn't as good as they thought. Maybe they don't want to be in the neighborhood for whatever reason it is. If we can start digging into that current pain, we might actually end up doing a CMA right on the spot. That's why it's important to go with your laptop bag and have your laptop fully charged. If the conversation is going really well, but they don't want to do a CMA right on the spot, you can actually collect their information, add them to your weekly newsletter, and then have them as a client down the road, maybe 2 months, 6 months, 2 years, whatever it is, but you still got their contact information. You're going to stay in touch. That's going to be a future client of yours. Step 2, this is where we crank the heat up and we actually get a ton of listings. I'm telling you, this works incredibly well. We're gonna draw from 2 pools of buyers. Some of the buyers that came through from the open house itself, and we're actually gonna call all the buyer agents that booked private tours. We call the buyer agents and we just ask, are you guys still shopping in the neighborhood with your buyers? If they say yes, we got a listing coming up. Would you like to see it before it actually hits the open market? You're gonna get a bunch of agents that are gonna say yes. Clearly, especially in the hot markets, People would love to get in before we go live on MLS. They're gonna ask you what the listing's all about, size, bedrooms, this, and all that kind of stuff. Say, we don't have all the information yet, but I'm gonna get it to you. Newsflash, guys, you don't have the listing yet. You need to go get it. Now what the difference is you're actually coming through with buyers. So when you knock on that house for the second time, the people already know you because you already had the conversation inviting them into the open house, so it's a lot smoother. So we knock on the door again. When they answer, hey, it's Shawn, don't worry, I'm still not selling you knives or water machines. Remember that open house that invited you guys in down the road? Well, it actually did so well. We have a ton of residual buyers left over. If you wanted to sell your house, I can actually schedule them all to come through and you don't even have to worry about putting it up online. When you're door knocking this way, when you're door knocking with intent, and you've actually got legit buyers that you can bring people through truly without even going online, you're gonna look like an absolute all-star. If the sellers choose not to go online, depending on what your board rules are, you can actually write out a 1-week listing with a 30-day holdover, schedule all the buyer agents that come through and the buyers that you have during that week, let them make any offers. If they make an offer and it goes through, boom, you got a deal. It was that easy. If they don't, what those sellers know about you is that you are incredibly hardworking, incredibly innovative, and you can bring through a ton of buyers without even being online. Imagine what you could do if you listed it. That's for the sellers that don't want to go live. But in my experience, the vast majority of people actually still want to put their listing live and go put it in the open market to see what they get. So you're actually just going to get the listing straight up. And this is how you own an entire street. And these are one of the things that I'm always talking about is what is the intent of the activity that we're doing and how do we max out the ROI? So if you're going door knocking, the worst thing that you could possibly do is just put the door hangers on and not have a conversation. That's not door knocking. You might as well just hire a kid to go do that for $5. The best thing you could do is actually have conversations with the neighborhood. Eventually, you're gonna need to have a conversation with these people anyways if you're gonna list their house. So you're just putting yourself in front of them instead of waiting for them to come to you. Because if you're waiting now, you better keep waiting. It's not gonna happen. Another great way to get sellers is to actually work your sphere. And I'm talking about warm calls. I'm not exactly sure why people have a big struggle with this, but warm calls are one of the best ways and the biggest returns on your time to increase your business in a big way. One of the problems with warm calls is I don't think a lot of people do them right. I know for myself personally, when I first started, they told me, oh, work your sphere, work your sphere. I'm like, okay, let's work my sphere. Like, well, call all your friends and family and see if they want to do real estate. The people that I haven't talked to in 10 or 15 years, call them, see if they want to buy or sell, or even if they remember who I am. Yeah, no. Here's the warm call strategy that I developed. It's worked incredibly well for me and my entire team. First and foremost, you need to make sure you budget enough time. So about 20 to 30 minutes per warm call whenever you connect with somebody. The goal is to genuinely and generally catch up with everybody. So we're not just sitting there going right to it, saying you got referrals, do you want to sell your house? I'm talking about genuinely catch up with people. Sometimes it might have been 5, 10, 15 years since you talked to somebody. See what they've been doing. I'm telling you guys, if the number is in your phone, call it. This is another big problem. People are cherry picking and skipping numbers and they're like, oh, I don't really remember who that person is. If at one point in time you knew each other well enough to trade numbers, you can still rehash that relationship. So as you're catching up with people and you're having a really good conversation, make sure you do not bring up real estate. It will come up naturally. When they ask you how real estate's been or what you've been up to or any of that kind of stuff, keep it simple, keep it short. It's been great. I'm loving it. I'm helping a lot of families. Put the conversation back to them. They want to talk about themselves. They don't want somebody that they haven't talked to in years to call and just start bragging about their life and everything. Let them talk, catch up with them. Once you get a little deeper in the conversation, see if you can actually help them. And I'm not talking about the old, I'm gonna help them with real estate. I'm talking about truly and genuinely helping them. If you can help them with their business, with their family, with something else that's going on, can you maybe take some stress off their plate? Can you help them with marketing? Can you share one of their posts? Any of that kind of stuff. Truly offer help in a genuine way. This is gonna keep the conversation really, really positive, and it's gonna put you in the right light as somebody who's actually there to help them with whatever they need, obviously including real estate. When we get near the end of the conversation, we're gonna do our 3 asks. Ask number 1, clearly referrals. But we're not just gonna ask for referrals. I don't know if this goes for everybody else, but I know myself personally, anytime someone says, oh, so-and-so is gonna call you, guess who never calls? So-and-so. So instead of just waiting for the business to come to you, instead of simply asking for the referral, ask, if you ever hear anybody talking about real estate, can you get their permission for me to call them? Or even better, can you set us up in a group text so that I can just start chatting with them and then I'll take it from there? Number 2, we're gonna ask for help with social media. And I'm not saying like big help or anything crazy. It's just, if you ever see one of my posts come up, can you like or comment on it? Because all those likes and comments add up into the algorithm. It helps me get more exposure, and that means the world to my business. And ask number 3, Anytime that you get a listing, or every once in a while when you get a listing, we're just gonna ask them to reshare it, because our goal as a listing agent is to get as much exposure as possible for our listing. So if our friends and family share it, that's free exposure, free advertising, and that's gonna generate more views for the listing, which in turn will generate a quicker, higher sale price. And one of the absolute best ways to attract more listings and more sellers is social media. The power of social media will be incredible for your business if you use it properly. One of the biggest mistakes I see with social media is realtors are either posting flashy things that they're buying, nobody cares, congratulations, or they're posting just real estate content like open, sold, for sales. That has no value to anybody. We need to be posting value posts for our audience. We can be posting things like homeowner tips, seasonal tips, what the new mortgage rate looks like if you refinance your house, what it would cost to upsize in a market like that, what it would cost to downsize, the hottest communities in your area. All of these type of posts are value posts. People are actually going to interact with them and appreciate that you're posting it because you've got good information. So if we continue to post value type posts instead of bragging type posts or useless information posts, we're going to get that high interaction, and then we're going to be converting that into leads that jump right into your inbox that are literally going to say, hey, can you sell my house? All right, so let's sum up this video really quick. How to become an actual listing agent. Spend time, not money. The more time that you spend prospecting, the more listings you're gonna generate. Direct your effort and energy towards where you wanna go, which again is listings. Do income generating activities that are geared towards listings. Again, that's door knocking, warm calling, working your sphere, and social media. If you like this content and you wanna keep seeing some more, hit the bell, subscribe, and leave some comments and questions below. We'll see you next time.